Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into a totally mind-bending journey today. We're starting right here in our modern, internet-obsessed age and stretching all the way to the distant and honestly kind of terrifying fate of the cosmos. If you've ever looked up at the night sky and wondered about humanity's ultimate destiny, whether we're actually going to conquer the stars or just fade into absolute obscurity, well, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to unpack the massive, existential hurdles our civilization is facing right this very second. And more importantly, we're exploring how our survival entirely depends on passing a test we didn't even realize we were taking. Seriously, ask yourself, if humanity were being graded right now, do you think we're passing or failing?
So let's dive right into this massive question. Why haven't we reached the stars yet? Down here on Earth, we feel pretty incredibly advanced, right? We've got these literal supercomputers in our pockets, we've split the atom, and we casually send nuclear-powered rovers to just roam around on Mars. It really feels like we're on the fast track to dominating the galaxy. But when you zoom out, a really profound mystery emerges. There are billions of stars in our galaxy alone, lots of them with Earth-like planets, and yet, the cosmos is dead silent. No signals, no massive megastructures, just nothing. This profound silence strongly suggests we might actually be stuck behind a massive cosmic roadblock. Despite all our astonishing progress, our expansion is completely stalled right here at home. So what's actually holding us back?
To figure that out, we have to take a really honest look at where we are right now as a species. Our source material points out that we're currently laying the foundation for a truly global civilization, and we're doing that primarily through the internet. We are more connected today than any humans in the entire history of the planet. We share massive amounts of data instantly across oceans, collaborating in real time. But here's the critical insight. This digital interconnectedness, it's merely a fragile beginning. It is not the peak of our potential. It's really just the scaffolding for a much larger structure. Think about it. Our data travels at the speed of light, sure. But our physical world is still fiercely divided by geopolitical borders, resource hoarding, and localized conflicts. The internet is undeniably a massive achievement, absolutely. But it's just step one in a much more dangerous, highly volatile evolutionary journey.
Which brings us to Section 1, the cosmic roadblock. What exactly is the Great Filter?
This gets us to the core conflict standing right between our newly interconnected society and our long-term future in the stars. The Great Filter. Basically, the Great Filter is the ultimate evolutionary bottleneck that stops most species from ever reaching the stars. Picture the universe as this massive cosmic obstacle course, okay? And in this course, absolutely every single species eventually runs into a wall so impossibly difficult that 99% of them are just wiped out before they can become spacefaring. The really chilling implication from the research here is that humanity is staring down this very filter right now. We are right in the middle of the exact evolutionary stage that determines whether a civilization survives long enough to explore the universe, or if it just collapses into radioactive dust and forgotten ruins.
Now, to actually beat this filter, we are attempting to transition into what astrophysicists call a Type 1 civilization. This is a fully global civilization capable of incredible seamless planetary coordination, ultimately harnessing all available energy on its home planet. What does that actually look like in practice? Well, it means moving way, way beyond digging up ancient fossil fuels to burn. A true Type 1 civilization would perfectly manage planetary resources, utilize the kinetic energy of its oceans, and maybe even control its own weather to prevent natural disasters. Obviously, we aren't quite there yet. We're currently trying to cross this highly unstable bridge from our current, fractured, heavily tribal state into this unified, highly advanced Type 1 status. And, as the data clearly shows, the journey across that bridge is incredibly dangerous.
Let's get into Section 2, the mechanics of doom, fragility, volcanoes, and entropy.
So, let's shift our focus to the hard science of exactly why civilizations fail during this tricky transition. We face a terrifying pattern of doom that scales up exponentially. On the localized end, we have planetary disasters, things like supervolcanoes. A massive eruption could easily trigger a devastating volcanic winter, which would completely wipe out our global food supply in a matter of months and cripple our high-density infrastructure. But the threats don't stop there. They scale all the way up to universal catastrophes, like cosmic entropy itself. Entropy, in simple terms, is the universal law that everything in the cosmos is inevitably moving from order to disorder. Everything decays. Mountains erode, stars burn out, and complex systems inevitably break down. This just proves that danger exists on absolutely every single level of our existence, constantly testing the resilience of our fragile little civilization.
But to understand the true, terrifying fragility of our high-density systems, we don't even need to look at apocalyptic natural disasters or the slow decay of the universe. We can just look directly at our own human-made errors. Our sources highlight one of the most chilling, almost unbelievable examples of this, the World War III simulation tape. It is the ultimate near miss in human history, and honestly, it's a bit of dark comedy. We nearly ended the world not because of some rogue dictator or a calculated strike, but because someone essentially popped the wrong VHS tape into a computer. It perfectly captures how incredibly quickly a highly complex, globally connected system can unravel entirely by accident.
Tracking the heart-pounding sequence of this event is like watching a thriller movie unfold in real life. Step 1. A completely routine computer simulation tape, a training exercise depicting a massive Soviet nuclear launch, is accidentally inserted into the live early warning system. Step 2. This utterly mundane human error immediately triggers a global false alarm. Across the defense network, screens light up signaling hundreds of incoming nuclear warheads. Step 3. This results in a massive, immediate spike in international tension. I mean, just imagine the sheer, unimaginable panic in those underground command centers during those few minutes. We were literally moments away from a full-scale retaliatory nuclear strike and an accidental World War III, all because of a misplaced training tape in a high-density automated defense system. It is a stark, terrifying reminder of exactly how vulnerable our own technology makes us.
Building on that terrifying fragility, we have to look at the broader, cascading failures that constantly threaten our world. System failure isn't just limited to isolated computer glitches. As our civilization demands more energy, resource depletion rapidly accelerates, putting immense pressure on these high-density systems. And when they are pressured, they break. Imagine a concrete hypothetical here. A severe natural disaster strains a regional power grid. That grid failure instantly shuts down water purification plants and supply chains. That sudden scarcity sparks mass migration, and that migration immediately triggers fierce geopolitical conflict. It's a highly dangerous, interconnected loop. Fewer resources lead to failing infrastructure, which directly fuels global conflict. This is the exact mechanism of the Great Filter at work, right here on Earth.
Moving on to Section 3, the ultimate survival test, reframing our destiny.
So, how do we actually deal with all this? Well, instead of viewing these terrifying threats, the supervolcanoes, the cascading system failures, the resource wars, as a path to pessimistic doom, the source material suggests we need a massive paradigm shift. We must reframe the quote-unquote end of the world as a civilizational survival test. This is arguably the absolute most important takeaway of this entire explainer. These aren't just random tragedies waiting to strike us down, they are a literal cosmic exam. The Great Filter is actively testing us to see if we have what it takes to evolve. We have to stop looking at these threats as our inevitable demise and start looking at them as the exact hurdles we are required to jump over to reach the next stage. Just think about it. How would it change the way we vote, the way we build infrastructure, or the way we treat neighboring nations today if we truly believed we were taking a universe-level test?
And what exactly is this cosmic test measuring? The primary metric is global cooperation. The survival test measures one specific, vital capability of our species, our ability to overcome the fragility of our systems by finally cooperating on a truly global scale. We've laid the physical foundation with the internet, sure, but now we actually have to use it to unify. We have to actively override our deep-seated evolutionary tribal instincts. We cannot possibly survive extreme resource depletion, prevent accidental nuclear annihilation, or successfully navigate the dangerous transition to a Type 1 civilization if we remain politically fractured and in constant conflict. Unwavering global cooperation isn't just some utopian dream. It is literally the only passing grade for this survival test.
Which leaves us with the ultimate question as we stand precariously on the brink of becoming a Type 1 civilization. Will humanity pass the global cooperation test, or will we be filtered out? Every major geopolitical decision, every technological advancement, and every single step we take toward or away from global unity is a part of this exam. Are we going to be the remarkable species that overcomes the mechanics of doom, overrides its own destructive nature, and finally reaches the stars? Or are we just going to be another failed experiment, a layer of dust caught in the Great Filter? The test is happening right now in our lifetimes. The only question is, are we actually studying for it? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.